俺はここにいるロキシーを二人目の妻として迎えようと思っている。
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 anime moments that made fans rage quit.
いや、また会えたね、少年。
Number 20, Aliceramas. The devil is a part-timer. Writing a child character is a very delicate art. Do it right, and you've got a beloved personality like Anya from Spy Family. Do it wrong, and you've got Aliceramas.
パパはサタン。
そうか、パパはサタン。
Yep, for seemingly no reason, the Mao-sama writer decided to sabotage the series by introducing this character and adding a baby-raising storyline to the show. Not only was Alice annoying as hell, but her inclusion kind of derailed the whole devil working in McDonald's storyline to the point that the show really suffered. Look, there's a lot of reasons why this anime fell off, but this is perhaps the most obvious one.
いや、丸くとむけたるの美男も国ママみんな連れてっちゃった。大嫌い。
Number 19, I don't want to kill demons. The Promised Neverland. Promised Neverland already raised a few eyebrows when it started rushing through the plot and skipping entire arcs. But this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Despite the fact that these children's lives were being terrorized by monsters that preyed upon their flesh, the author decided to do the whole killing is wrong thing. Emma went full moral preacher right at the 11th hour, proclaiming she didn't want to kill demons after all.
私、鬼を殺したくない。
This just didn't make sense after we witnessed the depravity of these utterly irredeemable creatures, when it was clear to viewers that they wouldn't get the satisfaction of seeing Emma mowing down legions of monsters to make a grand escape from the demon world. They just switched off.
絶滅は嫌。争わない道を探したい。
Number 18, New Frontiers. Digimon Frontier. As a child, we all wanted our very own partner Digimon. It was the concept that fueled the show's narrative, with each Digidestined's partner complementing their own personalities and insecurities, essentially leading them to grow and mature as people.
What are they?
We're Digimon! Digital monsters!
When the fourth generation came around, they decided to scrap that entirely by cutting out the middleman. No more Digimon partners. Now humans turn into Digimon. It was essentially a tokusatsu now, which a large chunk of the fanbase really wasn't vibing with, especially in the West. It is a shame though, because the Frontier season is genuinely good and takes some risks that really pay off. Number 17, Meliodas vs. Escanor, The Seven Deadly Sins. Imagine you're reading your favorite manga series and the most hype thing imaginable just happened. A clash between the two strongest leads in the show, and you know that someday it'll be brought to life in animated form. Now imagine that prophecy comes true, but the animation budget for said show was a piece of string and a paperclip.
せいぜいあがいてください。
That is the unfortunate fate that Nanatsu no Taizai fans suffered when the Dragon Sin of Wrath and the Lion Sin of Pride came head to head. What was supposed to be the absolute peak of the series looked like it was hastily put together the night before it was supposed to air. It was practically a PowerPoint presentation. Fans still haven't forgiven Studio Dean for this one. Number 16, Kaiju Conundrum, Godzilla Singular Points. The King of Monsters hasn't really had knockout success in the anime department yet, but Singular Points was still pretty darn solid, One thing that really rubbed Goji fans the wrong way, however, was its portrayal of some of the most beloved kaiju in the series. While their redesigns were decent enough, they opted to make favorites like Anguirus and Rodan pint-sized rather than colossal. In the case of Rodan, there wasn't just one, there were thousands. These portrayals kind of devalued the two iconic monsters' stock, and longtime fans of the series weren't happy. Number 15. Toka, the apparent homewrecker. Tokyo Ghoul-ri. Boy meets girl, boy gets with girl, boy and girl have a happy ending if you ignore all the chaos it took them to get there. Sounds like an ending everyone would want, right? Well, unfortunately for a large subset of fans, this was the worst thing ever. After finally reuniting with each other, Kaneki and Toka reveal their true feelings for one another and do the deed. This was an absolutely crushing blow to the Fujoshi community that desperately wanted Kaneki to get with his longtime friend Hide, and thus a lot of them swore off the series.
僕嬉しいよ。
本当？
Number 14, Recap Fest. Wolf's Rain. Don't you just hate it when things are getting juicy and you have to wait for the next episode to air?
I can't remember anymore how long it's been since I first found my way here.
Well, imagine if you had to wait an extra week, and then another, and another, and another. That was unfortunately the case for Wolf's Rain, which, for reasons, paused right at a pivotal point in the narrative to give fans 4 recap episodes in a row.
I never imagined that I'd be able to come this far.
They're told from different characters' perspectives, but they're essentially the same thing. After things returned to normal an entire month later, far less people were tuning in.
Look, I'm just as shocked and frustrated as the rest of you.
Number 13, Corono Dumped Oro. Despite the show's title, we'd been holding out hope that this story wasn't going to go down the dreaded sister route. So when Kyosuke earned the affections of best girl Ruri, we breathed a sigh of relief.
私はあなたのことが好きよ。世界で一番、他の誰よりずっとずっと永遠にあなたのことが好きよ。
Their romance was genuinely touching and felt really natural after the arc they spent together in school. But of course, we can't have nice things. And for seemingly innocuous reasons, Kyosuke sort of fell out of love and split.
俺はお前と付き合えない。好きな奴がいるんだ。
There was no denying it at this point. Viewers were locked into the worst possible route, and so many decided to abandon ship before it reached its disturbing conclusion.
我が生涯最大の呪いを思い知りなさい。
Number 12, Killing Off the Wrong Brother. Nier Automata version 1.1a. Sometimes it's good to make some minor changes here and there to freshen up an adaptation, but unfortunately the adjustments made to Nier Automata were for the worse. In the original game, Adam is killed, leading to an excellent final showdown with Eve against 2B and 9S at the end of Route A. However, in the anime version, Eve is killed instead, with Adam turning into a gigantic hulking robotic monster. This essentially leads to a much less interesting final showdown where the Resistance takes down Adam while 2B mostly stands there doing nothing. Unfortunately, this would stop a lot of people continuing with the second series, which has been incredibly faithful so far.
いやー、ギリギリでした。間一髪。
Number 11, Rudys Polygamy. Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. The first half of Mushoku Tensei's second season concluded with Rudys and Sylphiette finally reuniting after many years and getting engaged.
シルフィーと結婚します。
Unfortunately, this heartwarming moment was ruined for some following the death of Rudys' father, Paul. While in a state of mourning, Roxy makes a move on him in order to get him through it, which he accepts.
今は私に任せてください。
Now, this has upset a lot of people, as not only was it seen as Roxy taking advantage, but also the fact that Rudys was being unfaithful to his pregnant wife. For people greatly bothered by this, it got even worse, as Rudy would go on to ask Sylphie if he could take in Roxy as his second wife, which she surprisingly accepted. Huh.
ノルンちゃんはああ言ったけど、僕は歓迎します。
Number 10, Season 2, Alo Zero. We were on the edge of our seats by the time the first series of this unorthodox mecha had concluded. With the show's original concept by the Uro Butcher himself, we witnessed a bloody love triangle reach its apex as both Inaho and Princess Asalem were gunned down. How would they follow up such a spectacle? Oh, you know, by having the pair of them miraculously survive, all the while Best Boy Slain is now a warmonger with almost zero likability.
ただいま戻りました。アセイラム姫。今日もご機嫌うるわしゅう。
It's a colossal shame that the sequel season did all it could to mess up what was great about the first.
おかえり、稲穂。
ただいま。
Number 9, Kite's Reincarnation, Hunter x Hunter.
お互い修行が足りなかったな。
While it was certainly upsetting to see Gon and Killua's teacher meet his bloody end, it was still a pivotal moment for the series.
へえ、そんなこともできるの。
The young hunters may have been thrilled to learn that Kite was given a second chance at life, but some fans certainly weren't. Why? Two reasons really. First, it totally undercuts the emotional poignancy of Gon's retribution against Pitto. The second, why was Kite brought back as a little girl? We're still scratching our heads on that one.
私はレイナじゃないもん。私の名前はカイトです。
Number 8, Ainz Gos Full Villain, Overlord 3. Granted, the undead ruler of Nazarick has never had a problem with killing, nor with pulling the wool over the eyes of innocent people in order to achieve his goals.
さて、これからは別の遊びだ。かかってこい、人間ども。
That being said, fans were still convinced that deep down, he was more of an anti-hero, that he wouldn't cross any disturbing lines. Well, those fans were in for a rude awakening when Ainz ended up setting a trap for adventurers and leading them to some truly horrible ends.
これから長い付き合いになるのよ。これくらいで泣いてたら大変よ。
No matter what you thought about the extra characters, watching the fate of all 4 Foresight members unfold was incredibly unsettling, and Ainz didn't even flinch. It was official, Bone Daddy was playing for the dark side.
無駄だったな、ご苦労様。
Number 7, Endless 8, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Thank you. Your cell phone's ringing.
We've talked about this particular controversy to death, so here's the basic rundown for those still wondering what all the fuss was about. 8 episodes of more or less the exact same thing until the cast finally realize that they've been caught inside of a time loop. Unfortunately for us, there's no way to fast forward this little paradox.
There's that feeling again, and it's stronger than all the others. I can't let Haruhi leave. If I let her walk out that door, we'll end up reliving the past 2 weeks again and again for 1,000 more times.
The idea might have been solid, but the execution ended up draining what little promise it had. Next time, try trimming the fat and going for temporary 3.
What's it like to relive the same things that many times? That has got to be the craziest story ever.
Number 6, CGI Dragon, Fate Stay Night. After experiencing everything from Fate Zero all the way to Unlimited Blade Works and beyond, looking back, the original is a little underwhelming in comparison.
In order for the transplant to take effect, we must establish physical contact between each of us.
However, if there was one thing that kept us crawling back, it was the hope that Saber and Shiro's ship was going to make port.
Gegungen mit ihrem Ursprung. Mein Arbeit.
Just when we thought Master and Servant were going to recreate the sword in the stone in the bedroom, the show decided to swap the canonical love scene with a moment with the worst looking dragon you've ever seen in an anime. I mean, what the hell even is that? Number 5. Yusukes Lineage, Yu Yu Hakusho. There was certainly a lot to love about the whole Chapter Black arc, namely how Shinobu Sensei was a complicated villain who put our favorite foursome through a lot. So when did fans jump ship? When it was revealed that Yusuke's ancestral father was Ryzen, one of the most powerful demons of all time.
Spirit Detective Yusuke Urameshi, a direct descendant of the Mushoku.
You're out of your mind!
Don't get us wrong, the whole philosophical aspect on how both humans and demons are capable of tremendous cruelty was a good angle to go on. But this is Yusuke we're talking about here.
I've waited a long time for this.
The guy whose humanity has allowed him to best each foe he's come across. Making him part demon just puts a damper on his awesomeness. We really didn't need a sort of chosen one aspect. Number 4. Kamina's Death, Gurren Lagann. The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long, as was the case with Team Daiguren's former leader. For a meager 8 episodes, Kamina lit up the screen with every appearance, all thanks to a mixture of lightheartedness and unrivaled manliness.
Listen, just who the hell do you think you are, Simon? Your drill is the drill that's gonna bust right through heaven and earth and even tomorrow.
Just when we had gotten used to his testosterone-fueled motivational speeches, he was suddenly killed off right before the series really got to the meat of its story.
Later, buddy.
Sure, his death served as the driving force to push Simon forward, but for some fans, they just couldn't continue watching without him.
We lost something that could never be replaced.
Number 3. Kid Goku, Dragon Ball GT. Out of all the ways to handle a sequel to Dragon Ball Z, this most certainly was not the way to go about it.
I wish you were a little kid again, then I could really teach you a lesson or two.
So be it.
The train pretty much fell off the rails as soon as our favorite Super Saiyan was reverted back to his kid form, as per the original Dragon Ball.
Wow, the room got a lot bigger somehow.
Goku? Unfortunately, the transformation didn't bring back that prequel's charm. Instead, it signaled the start of a poorly animated, boring, and underwhelming venture that was even more forgotten in the wake of Dragon Ball Super. Fingers crossed that Daima tackles this same concept much better.
It's unnatural. I bet you did this on purpose.
No, I liked being old. Really, I did.
Number 2. The End of L, Death Note. It would be wrong to say that this anime fell flat following the demise of this now iconic detective, but you can bet your backsides that millions of L fans were none too happy that Light's nemesis had been shafted at the show's halfway point.
Everyone, the Shinigami...
There were still plenty of epic moments in store, but there was definitely a dip now that the rivalry between the two geniuses had now become one-sided. Can't have a great cat and mouse plot without the cat, especially one that's addicted to sweets and has an overwhelming hatred for shoes.
What's going on?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Ash loses the Kalos League Finals. Pokemon. You would have thought by this point, fans would have learned that Ash and victory at tournament finals did not mix, and yet they still hoped against hope that he would pull out a miracle win. He didn't. Despite having the type advantage with his Greninja against Alan's Mega Charizard, Ash was unable to go all the way and become the Kalos League champion.
Greninja's unable to battle! Charizard wins! Alan is the champion!
Coming from the guy who has managed to overcome death, conquered countless gym battles, and has been known to be a part-time messiah, you would have thought he would have known how to spam water attacks against a damn Charizard. Thankfully, years later he would go on to win the Manalo Conference and later become world champion in the Sword and Shield series. The writers definitely learned from this mishap.
It was a great one, though. Right. It was a very Ash-like battle, too.
Has an anime moment ever made you rage quit? Let us know which in the comments below.
悪いのは俺で、ロキシーは悪くない。彼女は身を引こうとしてくれたんだ。
兄さんは黙っていてください。
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.